Hello everybody, in this video I have a mixed media process to share with you with the Thompson's Craft Supplies design team. I am going to be working on this wooden heart, which of course will be linked in the description. It came in my kit for September. This is one of those projects that started out in one way and I had an idea in my head and it ended up so utterly completely different. I realise I say that every time, but partially that's my process. Like, you know, I kind of figure it out as I go, but also this really did end up completely utterly different to what I was planning, but you will see how it turns out, or you've already seen in the pictures. Anyway, so layer of gesso on the heart, of course, to start off with, and then I'm going to bring out this rice paper, which was also from my kit. I forget the name of it or anything like that, but it'll be in the description box. I thought I was going to go very floral for this one, so I've picked some of I didn't want to use obviously loads and loads of that rice paper. I wanted to save it for some other projects and stuff, but these lovely little florally bits and like with the text and stuff, I thought we could use those. I'm just here just sort of ripping off the straight edges because there's not really any very straight edges on a heart shape. But then I thought I'd actually bring in some of the AB Studio Never Neverland papers from my kit, partially because in my project last week I'd cut into a paper and like used a big old chunk of the middle bit of the paper. I thought I could just use the little scraps and leftovers of that to do something on this heart, because I mean the scraps are beautiful, look at them, absolutely gorgeous florals. So yes, just there I was just like tracing around the shape so then I could cut it, and for the other bits I'm just going to rip them and glue those down into place with 3D gloss gel, which I'm going to use for pretty much all of this video. And then when those are glued down in place, I'm going to add those little rice paper bits. I kind of ended up having more of the Never Neverland paper on the heart than I thought, so I kind of used the rice paper for the most part just to kind of fill in the gaps, kind of fill in the blanks kind of thing, because as you can see, yeah, the paper's taken up pretty much all of the space. For sticking on the rice paper, I'm putting gloss gel at the bottom just because it's a little bit more reliable for sticking down. Sometimes when you just use clear gesso, it can kind of pop up and stuff after a while. It seems to be okay on art journals and stuff, but sometimes on surfaces like this, the gesso isn't always enough for rice paper. I don't think I'm making any sense, so I'm going to move on. But the point being, I was putting gloss gel behind it and then the transparent gesso on top of it, because obviously I'm going to add loads of stuff to the top and you really need gesso as a good base for your medium. So I also put a layer of the clear gesso on top of the paper as well. Here I thought I'd add a little bit of crackle. This is the distressed distress Crackled Paint in the clear rock candy. It's basically crackle medium, but it's distressed, so it's called something different. I'm adding sort of thin layers in some places and then like really gloopy thick bits to get a big thick crackle around some of the edges of the heart, and I'm going to leave that to dry by itself because then the thing will crackle better. I think the instructions basically say, you know, leave it to dry. Don't use a heat tool until you start to see the crackles, and then you can use the heat tool to finish it off. But I went and did something else for a few hours, so it dried all by itself. Adding some stenciling here. That circle stencil is a Vicky Boutin stencil, and I am using Prima paper paste with that. And then I'm going to add that Prima stencil, which has like the delicate writing and the florals and stuff, and I'm using Nouveau embellishment mousse in the colour Royal Aubergine. My embellishment mousses, funny word to say, they are really starting to dry up. I'm getting quite annoyed about it. I know lots of people have had these problems. There's loads of tips and tricks online on how to rescue them and revive them and stuff. I've tried a few different things like boiling water. I don't have any like distilled or ionized water or anything like that, but we'll see how it goes. But point being, it was a little bit difficult to use because it's gone really, really dry and crumbly, and some of the other ones are just like rock solid. Not too impressed about that because I bought all of the colours of embellishment mousse like a year and a half, 2 years ago. Anyway, moving on. I thought I would add some chipboard pieces to add my kind of focal point to this. That flower piece I'm using there was from my kit, from AB Studio, and those other pieces, the kind of floral shapes, are also from AB Studio from a previous kit. Just to add a little bit of structure behind them, these little tiny little white wooden flowers are from a big pack from the works. Really, really cheap, really useful for just like situations like this. So I was just putting those behind there to add a little more oomph to the whole thing. And then, yeah, I did what I did previously when I used those AB flowers, where where you've got the chipboard to like poke out of the petals. I've only poked out a few of them. I kind of like the look where it's kind of mismatched and only some of the petals are open and some of them have the chipboard still there. I don't know what it is, I just think it looks really, really nice. So stuck all those down with the 3D gloss gel, and then I'm going to take some Winsor & Newton glass bead gel, which is basically gel medium with a load of teeny tiny micro beads in, and I'm just pasting that in all the little gaps and places between the chipboard, really big thick gloopy bits of it. It will dry transparent, that stuff, but I knew when it was dry I was just going to go over the whole lot with gesso, so I wasn't worried about colouring the gel or anything at that stage. But just so you know, it's not going to dry that sort of cloudy white colour, it will dry completely clear. But it's a great way of adding loads and loads of texture and stuff, really simple way to do it, and you don't have to mix your own beads and stuff like that. The only thing to be aware of, I don't want to sound too preachy, but micro beads are super, super, super bad for the oceans, so I try and prevent any of them from going down the sink when I wash my brushes, but that's just me. I know it's only a small amount of micro beads, but I feel like it's an every little helps situation with these kind of things. Anyway, I left that overnight to dry, just because really gloopy bits of the glass bead gel there, I just thought they would do better if I just let them, yeah, dry naturally. And then I am just taking some white gesso and going over all of the glass bead gel and the chipboard pieces, so I have a good base to colour them. So this is where the project started going a little bit different, when I started to add lots of purple things. I just felt like there was purple on the bit of paper that I'd put on the heart, and it went from there. So I'm going to start off doing some really close-up spraying so I have more control over like where the spray goes, with Dina Wakley gloss spray in the colour Eggplant. Oh, that's funny because I used something called Royal Aubergine earlier, and this is Eggplant. Like, you can tell one company is British and one company is American. Anyway, yeah, so added a few layers of that, then dried it. Then I'm adding Lindy's Stamp Gang spray in Prima Donna Purple and adding a few layers of that as well, drying in between so they don't get too mixed together. Like, I quite like the fact that you've kind of got the gloss area and then the really shimmery area from the Lindy's and stuff. What I have discovered about the Dina Wakley gloss spray is that if you get it on your nails, when you have gel nails, as I do, it will stain them if they are a certain colour. So my lovely pastel blue nail polish now has purple bits all over it. It kind of, if you did it in a certain way, it might look nice, but it's not working at the moment. But oh well, it will just have to be like that until the next time I do my nails. Anyways, lots of flowers I wanted to add to this. I just pulled out all sorts from my stash. Some of them are from my design team kit, others are from previous design team kits that didn't get used, and others, as I said, just generally from my stash. I kind of mostly chose purple ones, as you can see, but it didn't really matter because I'm going to paint over them with gesso and add colour, but it's easier if you have either the colour or the colour family that you're going to go with, or a neutral colour like white or cream or something. Like if I had, I don't know, like red or yellow flowers and then wanted to colour them, it would be an awful lot more work. This way I can kind of do it in a slightly more patchy way, and it doesn't really matter if some of the colour of the original flower shows through. So I'm just dry brushing heavy gesso onto all of those. And to do that, like, I put the gesso down on my piece of paper first, and then make sure the gesso that's on my brush is really, really like minimally on there, if you get what I mean. I just banged my hand on the table, that really hurt. I shouldn't gesture when I'm doing voiceovers, you can't see me anyway. Anyway, with the gesso on the flowers dry, I'm going to colour them with Fabrica Decorum metallic paint in Iris. First I just added quite a light layer, and then I just keep going back and adding more and more and changing my mind about how I want them to look and stuff. Like with the flowers that have centres, at first I left the centres alone, and then I decided actually I want to colour them with the iris. I also used that paint to fill in some bits on the chipboard and stuff where the sprays hadn't quite got there, and there was a couple of lighter bits, so I put that on there as well. Here I am adding some of the Tim Holtz transparent wings. I just chose 3 of the the plain looking butterflies in different sizes, and I'm just using my glue gun to stick those on. I've said this before, but obviously these are plastic, they're acetate, so when you use a glue gun on them, they can kind of melt them a bit, but you can use that to your advantage. So I've put hot glue in right in the center of that butterfly, and then pressed it down into place where I want it, so the butterfly sort of bends around the center of it, and then you just hold it in place with your finger for 10 seconds or so while the glue dries, and then you'll have your butterfly in a really gorgeous position like that. So really, really like that effect. I fussy cut a couple more flowers just from the Never Never Land papers. I just felt I needed a little more purple on there, so I chose the 3 most purpley looking flowers, and I've just added those. I went around the edges of them with Distress Oxide and Seedless Preserves just to encourage that whole purpley thing. And then I wanted to add some Tim Holtz quote chips, and that one that says dreams of faraway places and daring adventures was just the first that fell out the bag, and I went, yep, that'll do nicely, that'll do perfect. So stuck that on, although I'm going to reposition it in a second, because I just saw these on my desk, these Acetate Wings, which are from 13 Arts, and I was just like, I can make these work with this. So I've just fussy cut those and put those down. I'm sorry, my phone keeps vibrating, sorry about that. Yeah, just fussy cut those and stuck those down. Had to readjust the quote chip there, but it was fine, not too much of an issue. That quote chip keeps making me think of Beauty and the Beast, though I know the quote is kind of very different, but you know in Beauty and the Beauty and the Beast, when she goes far off places, daring sword fights, a prince in disguise about the book, and because that says it's got dreams, faraway places, daring adventures, that's how my mind ended up. So I see this now and I think of Beauty and the Beast. That's how I work. So anyway, I'm just taking some Nouveau Embellishment Mousse in gold and really, really dry brushing it over some of the florals and the chipboard pieces, and the dried glass bead gel just adds a really lovely extra texture to it, and sort of adds highlights and gives it a slight little steampunky vibe as well. So I'm basically just treating the embellishment mousse like you would a wax, adding a few Nouveau drops, stone drops in the colour, I did write it down, I think it's Plum Slate, basically purple, just to have something at the top of the heart. I felt like it was a bit too plain up there, just to have a little bit more texture up there. And then I'm going to finish off with some splatters. Of course, I started using the Dina Wakley gloss spray, but wasn't feeling that, so I brought out Heidi Swap Colour Shine. This is in the colour Amethyst, and it is so gorgeous with this project. It is just so pretty, and I'm so sad that they're discontinued because obviously I can't link them for you. But then looking at that, I thought I'm going to need gold splatters as well, because I've already put the gold highlights on there, so I just added a few really big gold splatters on there, so they're not all over the place little ones, but big splashes of it instead, and I think that works. So there we go, the project is finished. As I said, ended up so completely different to what I expected. We've now got this purple, very slightly steampunky Beauty and the Beast something or other vibe, gothic with the wings. I don't know what you want to call it, but there it is. Anyway, I am finished. Thank you so much for watching. As always, links down in the description box, corresponding blog post as well if you want a better look at the pictures or anything like that. The links are on there as well. And yep, that's it from me. Thank you so much again. I am now going. Bye bye.